So I spent at least a week trying to get an ESP. Oh man, these things are awesome. Something this, I don't even know if you see that, like dope, that tiny thing working on my Wi-Fi network. And you know what? It was a nightmare. I spent at least a week, maybe 2 weeks working took a program that already existed, written in MicroPython, and tried to get it on my home network, and it just didn't work. And I'll show you, I have like a whole bunch of other platforms that work just fine on the same network. So there's something weird in the ESP32 C3 networking, in my opinion. It could be my network, but I find it hard to believe because, like I said, everything else is working. And don't be trying to sign on to my SSID. Anyway, so I've got 3 networks actually at the house. Pity the Fool and a couple Fios router ones. And I have tried all of these. And like I said, Windows can connect to all 3. MacBook can connect to Arduino. Ethernet Shield can connect to all 3. The ESP32 C3 running MicroPython, Arduino, not CircuitPython, because you can't run that on an 8266. I have a Pico W that runs MicroPython and Arduino without a problem. Did I try CircuitPython? I'll try and remember. And then I tried ESP32's the C3 with MicroPython, the Arduino, and CircuitPython, and none of them worked. Like, I had it working one time, and then it never worked after that, and I have 2 different units, and I reburned the firmware and everything else. It just didn't work. So I pretty much tried everything. Arduino, MicroPython, CircuitPython, those have the same network stack. Actually, they may all now have the, you know what? I don't know. Anyway, so I hunted around for a couple weeks, and I saw a video on the net, and there's a link at the bottom. I want to thank the person, whoever it was that created that video. But basically what it turns out is the easiest way to do this was to create a new hotspot that didn't do anything else, just a dumb hotspot. And it turns out, think of it like connection sharing. And I haven't tried this on the Mac yet. Maybe I'll try that later. And basically I just created a new hotspot access point just for ESP32 C3 work, right? And it's super simple. Basically, you just hit the Windows key, you enter mobile hotspot, select the mobile hotspot choice that comes up. You get this. You set the network. You set the network name, which you can set down here, and you can set the password. And you make sure that you're on the 2.4 gigahertz band, because that's where most of the IoT stuff is still crowding that band because it's cheap. And you add some password, and you just hit this on toggle, and now you got an extra network at your house, right? And so you take those credentials, and I made these really dumb credentials because this is only going to be up when I'm playing on the network, and I'm not going to tell you what they are, but you could probably guess, and it's not A and B. And then I just put those on my IoT devices, on my CircuitPython. It went in the TOML file. In the other places, it went like in a .py file, because I'm mostly doing Python right now. And it works every time. Comes up every time. I'm like blown away after 2 weeks that only one person on the internet actually came up with this as a fix. And I don't know why. Can't tell you what's going on with the home network. I've got a Fios router and a couple Airport Extremes, and they work for everything else, all other devices, except for these. And I'm assuming it's a network stack issue and it'll fix itself. And so, you know, once you, and actually the Python, now you know the SSID for this development network is Python. But the password isn't Python, so you can forget that. So you can see that this signal strength isn't great. But you know what? Connects every time. No problem at all. It's on some other channel. Don't know what the deal is. Don't care. Just make sure it's the 2.4 gigahertz. Probably the big negatives on this, you get a new address every time. The network is the same, but the address is wrong. So that is actually why I put a little display on mine. I think I showed you this earlier. It's actually why I put a little display on every one of my devices so it can tell me what network it's on. And sometimes this hotspot will turn itself off after a while because I think it's trying to do a power save thing, right? And this is actually on my game machine. It turns out it has a Wi-Fi card in it. I didn't know, but it can do this hotspot thing. And I think, you know, you might be able to do it over Bluetooth also. I think I might play with that. But basically, if you looked up above, I'm sharing a hardwire Ethernet connection. So this is my desktop's on a hardwire, and doesn't every nerd have a hardwire connection? So then you can share your Wi-Fi connection. And I think you can do this as connection sharing on a Mac, but I hadn't tried it. And this is the video that I saw this for originally. I think this is really cool. I like fought for this because all my other, and the same programs even, worked on these other devices and didn't work here. But I'm just saying, if you get in a jam, try creating a mobile hotspot. And then you can work on the fun part and not troubleshoot some weird networking thing. Until later.